Well, mental illness, also mental health disorder, is something a lot of people are starting to talk about, and it's very important, especially during the month of May. With us is Liz Rock of the Jewish Family and Children's Service. How are you doing this morning, Liz?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing very well, and I'm so honored that you're here to talk to us about this matter that is so important because of your own story. But let's talk about mental health disorder before we get into your story and how more and more people are needing to find help at this time.
That sounds great. Yeah. We all have mental health, right? Every single one of us has mental health, and we have varying degrees of how healthy we are. And some of us, because of genetics, because of environment, many different combinations, we experience mental illness from time to time. And then the different mental illnesses vary in levels of severity as well. So, recent times with the COVID-19 pandemic, it has made that even, I think it's just really exaggerated and it really kind of brought a lot of things to the surface. And so people are talking about it a lot more. I mean, the isolation that people are experiencing definitely contributed, as well as just change and people being scared of the pandemic.
Yeah, and I think people also get scared of being judged when they talk about this, and this is where you're coming in with your story, and tell us a little bit about your story of mental health.
Absolutely. So honestly, it took me until I'm 43 years old. I know I look like I'm 20, but I'm 43. And it took me until about age 40 to really be able to open up and talk about it because there's so much stigma in our society around mental illness. I was diagnosed with an anxiety disorder called panic disorder when I was 13 years old. And a lot of mental illnesses are diagnosed during adolescence, or they're not diagnosed and they present themselves. But people, I think the average is 10 years. A lot of adolescents suffer before they seek treatment. So, I luckily had a mom who was really in tune with, she actually has a severe mental illness as well. And there's mental illness that runs in my family. But so my mom took me to a therapist pretty early on because I was suffering from really acute panic attacks. And I can compare it to like a seizure. It would come on, and then I would kind of clench my fists and dig my fingernails into to skin and get through it. But then I was left with kind of just long-lasting anxiety and depression about what the heck was happening to me and where did it come from? And so, I mean, that's a whole nother interview to talk more about that. But anyway, I eventually ended up in the office of an adolescent psychiatrist, I think maybe 3 to 6 months later, and she treated me with an antidepressant. Now, this was back in the 90s. So this was a big deal back then. I mean, we've come a long way since then, thank God. Anyway, it made it go away like that. And so throughout my life and growing up, I've been on and off medication and have learned each day how to deal with it better. But it's something real. It's not different than diabetes or, like I said, having a seizure. And we need to talk about it to eliminate some of the fear around it.
Yeah. And that's why you're talking now about your story, because you want people to start talking about their mental problems so they can get through, especially as we've been seeing things happen in the media from our mass shooting, where we're finding out these people have been trying to seek help, but they waited too long. Family members waited too long. And that's why it's important where you guys at the Jewish Community Center there and the Family Children's Service has a great resources, and you want people to use them, all people to use them.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of resources out there. So Jewish Family and Children's Service is one of the largest providers of behavioral health care for low income and working poor here in Phoenix, Maricopa County. The really amazing, beautiful thing about JFCS is what we call it for short, is that you can go. So if I live in Maryville, I can go into the Michael R. Zent Healthcare Center. I can see a therapist. I can see a psychiatrist. I can see a primary care physician. I can get my blood drawn, and I can also pick up my prescription all in one place. By the way, there's an urban food garden there. There's a little mini library. there's, and also it's a beautiful place, so you can receive dignified healthcare and you're treated like if you're going to, the most prestigious clinic in Paradise Valley. So that's one way, is, providing access to care. Another thing that I want to share is about the National Alliance on Mental Illness, Valley of the Sun chapter. And this is support groups. So if you have a family member that's suffering from a mental illness, whether it be a severe mental illness, suicide ideation, something like that, you can join a support group and learn how to deal with it. If someone is an addict, in recovery, you can also learn a lot about that. Also, there's peer groups, so that you can, if you have a mental illness like me, I can go and share my story. And if I'm talking to people and I learn that someone else has the same kind of issues or similar issues, it has this beautiful healing power of just taking away the fear. And it's just a wonderful thing. So that's another resource.
So, and it's so great that they're out there. And I like that it's all underneath one roof, that you can find all the information. So let people know the website that they can go to find out more information about all the different support groups out there. Okay.
So to get healthcare, you can go to JFCS's website, which is www.jfcsaz.org. For NAMI, for support group and crisis line information, you can go to NAMI. Oh my goodness, I'm forgetting the website.
That's okay. We'll put it on the bottom of the screen there, so people can go.
It's called the Valley of the Sun NAMI chapter.
So, we'll put all the different ones on the bottom of the screen, because this is such an important, of course, message and important things to get out there. So, Liz, I'm so glad you shared your story with us out here and with everyone. It's so important. So, and I thank you for stopping by.
Well, I am so grateful for the opportunity, and I hope you have a great rest of the day.
So, thank you.
Yep.